Hello friends, welcome to this video. So I talk a lot on this channel about how art is about skill and practice way more than it is about talent. And I figured I should probably back that up with some evidence, just so we're all on the level here. If you come out of this video thinking that I was naturally gifted at art, you are wrong. This is not about making fun of my younger self, although we can certainly do some of that. This is about showing you all that art is about practice. So, without further ado, I present this masterpiece. I don't know exactly when it's from, but it is about one of the oldest drawings that I have with me at my apartment. So, this is where we're going to start. I'm about 90% sure this stuff is from middle school ish. So, yeah, unlike a lot of people in the art community, I didn't always like art, actually. I don't even remember when I started drawing. I would go through phases of like liking to draw in middle school, like whenever I got an art book. But a lot of the time, I would get these art books just to look at the dragons, not to draw them. I would say I drew a lot for someone who wasn't into drawing. Can you feel the air quotes? But not as much as like the art kids. Yeah, so I was just kind of the average middle schooler drawing anime cat men, apparently. Is that average? I kind of don't want to know. Anyway, moving on to high school, I actually ended up taking an art class, and I quite liked it, to be honest, but it wasn't like, oh my gosh, I like art. It was more like, this is the easiest class I have. And as you've already seen, I was definitely not particularly talented. In any case, this class was super important for my art journey. And the reason why it's important is because this is the first teacher that told me to draw what you see, not what you think you see. And it was honestly such a revelation to me. I think this is the best art advice I was ever given, and it really helped me get better. So my art skills like really jumped in high school. And then in college, I started watching YouTube videos actually, which talked about things such as using references, which was also a revelation for me. Mostly I was just doodling around for fun. And actually, I remember one day I was talking about drawing dragons in front of my friends, and this guy, Maddie, if you watch this, I'm talking about your ex. He was like, well, can you really draw dragons if you never draw them from the front? And I was so offended. I was like, oh, I'm going to draw the heck out of a front facing dragon. And I tried. And I thought it was great. But looking back, it's a little rough. Not gonna lie. Nowadays, current Ash is like, well, if you just use a reference, then it's no problem. But at the time, I didn't know what I was doing, so that was actually a problem that plagued me for a long time. And to this day, every time I draw a dragon from the front, I think about what that guy said. And I cry. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, in college, I got myself a sketchbook toward the end and started drawing more. But I didn't really draw a ton until I got to grad school, which is when I got my first iPad that you could draw on. I got that iPad, I think, for Christmas 2018. So not long ago, but also like a lifetime ago. Yeah, I also found Procreate. Like, I looked up YouTube drawing apps, you know. At the time, though, Procreate was so bare bones, it didn't even have clipping masks. So I used Medibang Paint at the time because it did have clipping masks. And yeah, I did that for a while until it became absolutely unusable with ads like every time you want a new layer or something like that. It was so good and it was free and then they just ruined it. At least at that point Procreate had become a lot more than it was. So, yeah, I was drawing the beginning of grad school, digital art, cell shading, didn't know how to shade, but I was having fun. And then I kind of stopped a bit. Toward the middle of 2019, grad school started getting a little bit tougher. I was more tough on myself because I was a second year and supposed to know what I was doing, which as a fifth year is like, what? Second years don't know anything. But at the time, I was like upset about it, which means I didn't draw because I don't draw when I am not happy. And that ironically makes me more not happy. So that was great. Long story short, being too hard on myself made me really burn out at grad school stuff. So I wasn't in the best place mentally at the end of 2019. And then we all know how 2020 went. I think I speak for a lot of us when I say it was not good for the mental health department. It was a tough year. Some good things happened, some not so good things happened, but it was probably one of my worst years mentally, and I didn't draw at all. Maybe a couple of sketches, but that's it. It took me a while, but with the help of my friends, my partner, my family, and some mental health professionals, I started feeling better. And this is slightly off topic, but I just wanted to say that if you're struggling, you deserve to be happy. And if you need professional help to feel better, you deserve that help. I know this is an art journey, but really, for me, my art journey was also a mental health journey. I don't know if other people can relate to that, but that's definitely how it is for me. Okay, so I drew something for my dad for Christmas at the end of 2019. And the next thing I drew was in May of 2021. It was so nice to do art again. And I think my skills got better even though I wasn't drawing during a year and a half. And that was pretty encouraging actually. So I drew kind of off and on until October of 2021. And ever since then, I've been drawing all the time. It's crazy. It's almost been a year. It's almost October 2022. And a year ago is when I really started working on art like every week. And I've gotten a world better, I think. After October, I started using not just cell shading, I used the multiply layer and different brushes, and I got a coloring process down. I focused on getting better at drawing, doing simple one layer shading in multiply mode. I started drawing backgrounds. I started using references more for lighting and stuff like that. I was just really excited about learning how to be better. And then I tried lineless. This painting was the first painting that I ever really tried to do. And it was so hard. I was like, how am I supposed to know where to put the colors and the shadows when I can't see where the lines are? I experimented with a more messy sketching style, trying to push the personality of this psychotic dragon. With this one, I also learned that I can put more detail into my dragon faces, and I didn't have to draw them like I had always drawn them. I made ambitious pieces like this one, which took me nearly 11 hours. This dragon was another huge turning point for me. With this dragon, I found a painting process that I absolutely loved and gave me a result that I was super proud of. This is the piece where I fell in love with painting, which is something that I never thought would happen. But I totally did, and I don't even like doing line art anymore. And painting is my favorite part of drawing. I definitely want to make a video going into my new process that I've found really works for me and gives me a result that I really like. But yeah, ever since then, I've just been trying to improve my drawing ability and my painting ability and my ability to use references. Like, I really want to learn more about how to use references more, but also to go off script sometimes, if that makes sense. like use the shadow areas from one reference, but the colors from another reference, and adding interesting hue shifts in certain areas and stuff like that. I've also been trying to learn how to paint humans, like, dragon riders are a thing. And then I've also been trying to do some studies to learn more about how to draw accurately, how to shade accurately, how to make something look like it has texture. I want to add more details to my dragons. I want to eventually be able to draw scales on them without feeling like ripping my eyes out. Ever since I've made the jump to painting rather than drawing and doing simple shading, I have been really excited to challenge myself and learn. I can't believe it's only been a year since this was my maximum effort. I'm so excited to see what my art looks like in another year. When I was growing up, I always thought that art was about talent and natural ability. But I'm gonna say with confidence that if I can go from this to this, anyone can learn how to do art. And also, learning art goes at different paces throughout your life. At least that's what it did for me. I went from this to this in 2 years, and then I went from that to this in 1 year. Plus, this drawing took me half as long as last year's drawing did. Mostly because last year's drawing I was like trying to mess with brush settings, but still. In any case, I hope this video was informative, um, or at least like motivating. Like, oh yeah, if she went from this to this, then I wonder what I can do in my art learning journey. I don't know. I just get really passionate about learning how to do art because I never thought that I could, and I want other people to know that they can learn. And yeah, I mean, if anybody else wants to show me some of their art journey stuff, I am on Instagram and my DMs are open. Please tell me I'm not the only person who drew anime catmen in middle school. And on that interesting note, I'd like to say thank you for watching, and I'll see you around.